Raleigh said, help me in my mission to bring my people back into the constitutional fold of government, enforcing our Constitution of the United States of America, right? And then you hear some of the most high-positioned people in the order say Raleigh never taught civics. The constitutional enforcement is the highest level of civics. It's not even debatable, but yet people debate it. The deal of it is, when you know this, you don't give them the energy because you know they're there for just what they're doing to create the division. But you don't get angry. You don't get angry. This is Raleigh. Raleigh says, well, Jared. Raleigh says, when you're around a bunch of Moors that are not carrying out my law and creating a lot of confusion, get out from under them. Go find somebody that's doing good and help them do more good. He did not play clubism. And he said, this Raleigh said this, he said, I am a universal prophet, and my philosophy will be universal. I only came to you Moors because you need me the most. Translation, don't get it twisted. They don't own him, but yet they act like it, don't they? Violation again. You know, these principles are universal. And this is the interesting thing. What you see, all this also, Sinetta, if you will start, matter of fact, when we come to the house for the babies and everything, right? We'll have the babies take I'm going to give them some stuff for themselves and little notebooks for them to take notes and give reference points. Now, you got Black's Law, Giles, right?
Yeah.
4th edition. Right, 4th edition. And you already know, you got the English Heritage Dictionary?
Yeah.
All right, and you've got etymology dictionary in the English language?
Yeah.
All right, make sure your babies have that. It's so easy to take children and give them a fundamental education. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times when different brothers are debating, you know, you take a neutral position because you're an editor.
Right.
You're a journalist. But for the sake of our people, would help to school them and wake them up. Give reference points. Now, you got Black's Law, Giles, right?
Yeah.
4th edition. Right, 4th edition. And you already know, you got the English Heritage Dictionary?
Yeah.
All right, and you've got etymology dictionary in the English language?
Yeah.
All right, make sure your babies have that. It's so easy to take children and give them a fundamental education. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times when different brothers are debating, you know, you take a neutral position because you're an editor.
Right.
You're a journalist. But for the sake of our people, would help to school them and wake them up. Sometimes with the positions they hold, because a lot of it is on emotion, but they're not really dealing with facts. And what you find is that and this is a damaging thing that we do often, we're more into protecting our schools of thought than we are into recognizing the nation. So when we go out into the world, whether people say they're Christian, Jew, Muslim is irrelevant, because most of these are corrupted systems of social control. You recognize them as a nation of people who don't recognize themselves as a nation, who are under occupation. And most of these dogmatisms are confusions. There's another reason why I don't get into
last time, because we did this before. Where does the word Moor come from? Was it given to us by our enemy? And how was it attached to our people? Because we do know that Moors wasn't in antiquity. There was no Moors in antiquity, or were they? Going on all that.
All right. Once again, if you get the Greek rendition. Now, Renoka Rashidi speaks about the Moors only in the Greek rendition, in which that the Moors is equivalent to mean black. All right. This is Renoka Rashidi's and different others' scholarship on that. They really don't go too far into the history of the Moors besides for 711 to 1492 AD. However, like we said, there's a still in the British Museum. All right, there's a still in the British Museum in which that specifically goes into the word Moors. All right, And also, once again, from the book of, once again, Wallace Budge, in his book, all right, he speaks specifically about the word Moors, M-A-U-R. Now, understand is that we can spell it M-O-O-R, we can spell it M-U-U-R. Understand is that it's M-R. There was no vowels used in ancient Egypt or Kemet or Tamaray or Tamari. There was no vowels used. The continents remained the same. The M symbolizes an owl, and the R symbolizes the mouth of Ra. All right. So that comes to mean the word Moor. All right, based on hieroglyphics, based on Metrunetcher. All right, which you can get this within another book. This is by Asa G. Hilliard. The name of the book is Ptah Hotep, the oldest book in the world. All right.
Sources for more African scholars, because Budge, you know, the argument.
Right. Well, I just stated Asa G. Hilliard.
Anybody else?
All right. Drusilla Houston, Dungy Houston, her, as well as the fact that even Dr. Ben stated that is one of the most honorable names that we have had in history, which I've stated at the Sarah Student SETI debate. There's many, many more. You know what I'm saying? Right, Grandmaster Dr. Ben. You know what I'm saying? This is what, right, came out of his writings, which is out of his thoughts. You know what I'm saying? Out of his information. You know, so. No, he never say that. How could he? How could he? Because he said the most honorable names that we've known. PhD in Moorish history from Barcelona, Spain. The University of Barcelona, Spain is where Dr. Ben got his PhD from. So, obviously he would never state that because he taught, you know what I'm saying, that the Moors were honorable, you know what I'm saying, at least name-wise. Now, of course, we can always come up with something saying that the Moors betrayed, you know what I'm saying, the other Africans and all this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Come on. We know that based on scholarship, what the European is telling us is that Africans sold other Africans into slavery. All right? And they weren't necessarily quote-unquote Moors. We
Look it off with Dr. Reggie. He's calling you out. Ismail Allah Bey have taken the challenge. What would it take for you to come and address Shaka Utmost and Dr. Reggie at the same time? Can that happen?
Really, I'm not into the debate thing any longer. Anybody who watched my videos, I got over 300 of them. My shit is superior, point blank. If they want to go to if they want to, I guess you could say, debate me in some sense, then go to my website and debate the information that's there on the metaphysical and the religious confusion. That's what I'm here to do, is end religious confusion. That's my role. You know what I'm saying? So everybody can get caught up into their little sects. So now I lost the debate because I was a Moor. But so I had to know, I got so much information. I don't even, out of 300 videos, I probably got 10 videos that I go into the Moorish information on. Out of 300. I'm not a debater. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I got to come to Dr. John Henry Clark's conclusion is that I don't debate, you know what I'm saying, except for my peers. You know what I'm saying? Or others I teach. All right? So that's the thing. You know what I'm saying? Sonetta would tell you, you know, I was his #1 man for almost 8 years up in his piece.
That's real talk.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what really got this Moorish thing going, because Sarah Student SETI said that he was upset originally because the Moors were selling more more videos than anything else.
Talking about a Hollywood movie. Hold up, I'm not talking about the movie. I'm not talking about Hollywood. The question I asked you was the term Moor. Was it given to us by our enemy?
No.
That's what I'm asking you.
There came a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain. The Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors. M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S.
Right, remember.
And Moor is not a bad word. I'm not saying it's bad. Right. You know, I'm just asking.
Right, remember now, I answered that a little bit earlier when I stated that the word Moor was spelled by E.A. Wallace Budge. It was spelled M-A-U-R, all right, or M-A-U-R-S.
There came a time in 1506, After we lost power in Spain, the Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S.
As in plural. Now understand what the word Moor means. Once again, it meant that it was a priesthood of the ancient Kemites or Temerians, and they was after the order of Ra or On or Anu. So that means the Egyptians or the Temerians existed prior to the European invasion of the Persians and the Greek. All right. Now you'll find the same word from the text of E.A. Wallace Budge's book, talking about the hieroglyphics. All right. You'll find the same word in the Phoenician, who was the Minoans. Remember, you had the Cretans, the Minoans, who are the Canaanites. They're all the same people, just different names. They once were the people who inhabited what is called the Grecian lands. All right, before the Persians came in, you know what I'm saying? And you can see the change of the culture. All right, I know when I was growing up, they used to show us artwork all the time in our art books of melanated, highly melanated people in that area, and then all of a sudden the Europeans come in, and then all that mixing took place. All right, but the previous owners of that land were the Minoans, who are the Cretans, which are the Phoenicians, which are the Canaanites biblically. You know what I'm saying? And they were Moors.
Question. What is the
There
dominant,
it is.
What is the dominant or the preeminent Islamic research that exists on the Moors? Meaning that what comes out of Islam from an Islamic point of view, from their scholars that speak about that era, you know, give you the history, because they were very in-depth with their dissertations.
All right, I'm gonna give you a good example. Dr. Khalid Muhammad, before he was known as Dr. Khalid Muhammad or Khalid Abdul Muhammad, his name was Dr. Rashidi or Dr. Rashid. Now, there's an audio tape that Brother Big Man gave me 10 years ago. All right. In the video, when Brother Big Man gave me the and I listened to it, Dr. Khalid Muhammad is speaking on the Moors throughout the whole tape, historically. And that makes sense when you connect it to the last video that he did before his death, where he stated, I'm a Moor. And if I say I'm a Moor, you know what I'm saying, then basically it's the same thing like Jesus said. You know what I'm saying? If the Bible said that ye are gods, then who am I in order to... Right.
No, we're right.
When he said the Khalid speech.
Right, Dr. Khalid. This was right before he died, right before he got assassinated, right before he was poisoned.
Yeah.
Just a couple of weeks right before that, it was his last lecture, in which that he said that if I was, I'm a Moor, and if I wasn't a Moor, I wouldn't have told you I'm a Moor.
Yeah, I've seen them and heard them say
You know what I'm
that many
saying?
times.
Right. So Dr. Khalid taught on that. So he's one of the historical greats. All right. If you want to say he's the general, you know what I'm saying, and he's the chairman, you know what I'm saying, of the new Black Panther Party, you know what I'm saying, then that means all his philosophy has to be incorporated into the RBG.
You brothers know, and Elder Tariq Bey, you're an elder, so I don't even, right, so I don't even, I have a lot of respect for your work, right? For the younger Moors, right, we're working on a debate to deal with the Empire of Morocco and what they believe they know or what is real. Now, I'm following Sarnetta, right?
Yeah.
I feel, Brother Sabir, that the Moroccan Empire, right, is key and crucial, right, to the transatlantic slave trade, and that if there was no Morocco, right, there would not have been a transatlantic slave trade.
Because the first slavery came from us. We held Europeans in slavery.
Yes,
You
and
got to
we need
know
to
the
clear it
real
up.
history. Slave comes from Slovakian.
There you go.
And one of the things that you find problematic with our people, when they go into their history, they want to take the good and ignore the negative.
Exactly.
We got a lot of work to do, but we held them to slavery first. So
That chamber lessons.
Let me ask you this. For the record, were there Moors involved in the slave trade? Did the Moors work side by side the Arabs, the historical Moors of course, to enslave African people? For the record.
Yes, there was some involvement. You know what I'm saying? Which, of course, we all learn from lessons. Like we just stated earlier, Jerry Rawlings, when he was president of Ghana, he apologized on behalf of the Ghanese participation in the enslavement of African Americans. So that's African on African. That wasn't more on African. As far as his historical base and knowledge was concerned, he was apologizing in that regard. So it's the same thing. You know what I'm saying? We as Moors, if we participate or had that lineage, you know what I'm saying? Just because I'm a Moor, that does not make me an African. I'm an African. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? The oldest relics have been found in Africa, and specifically South Africa, 2.8 billion years back. Billion, not million, 2.8 billion years ago. We talking about the oldest relics. If y'all don't believe me, get the book Forbidden Archaeology by Michael Creedmoor. Get the book Hidden History by Michael Creedmoor and Richard L. Thompson. They speak about in South Africa where the oldest relics was found at. They were smelting metal 2.8 billion years ago.
But did we also, in Morocco, as Moroccans, right?
Morocco.
As Morocco, well, I'm talking about the Morocco in Africa.
No, that's
I'm talking
the kingdom. You're talking about the kingdom. That's the
I
kingdom.
understand. That kingdom of Morocco, I am saying that kingdom of Morocco broke the codes and first began enslaving Africans.
Okay, let me say this real quick. We enslaved Europeans first too, but we did. I agree, we did enslave each other. We did. But the Moors is not just Morocco, it's Senegal, Mali, all that. They were all still Moors. It didn't matter. So no matter where you were at,
they're all
Africans.
You know what? The interesting thing that I find with people in the name of scholarship.
Yes.
I'm saying that exactly. Looked at Moors as if it's some little club over here.
yeah, that's what they think.
Everybody of Asiatic African descent are Moors, period, including Europeans who are amalgamated Moors, which indicates these people don't know their history. And you know, we keep trying to go into history with this self-righteousness that does not exist with us. You know what I mean? We did great things and we did terrible things,
Yes,
which is why we're in the condition we're in today.
Elder Tariq Bey, were the Umayyads, the Arab invaders, were they Moors?
Yes, they're amalgamated. Everyone is amalgamated. When you look at the world, if you talk to people who really know human history, including Europeans, they will tell you the whole human family came from the African woman, the great Moabitess.
Yes.
You know, and for us to keep pretending that, you know, that the different nation states of people are totally different is totally corrupted. Most people that come with this stuff usually express a lot of their emotions, their opinions, but when upon examination they have limited scholarship.
Okay. A lot of people generalizing.
This is the problem. If you don't know the past, if you don't acknowledge the past and the flaws, because we keep trying to play this self-righteous stuff. If you pay attention to our people, as soon as they get into this so-called fake spirituality, they're always trying to play self-righteous like they know God, Jesus, Allah, nobody else does type things. You understand? All you got to do is look at what we have done to our own children with our BS and our fake Afrocentricity and our fake everything. The manifest is what you see all around you.
And then all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chum.
Political chumps. Yo, Khalid. Political chumps always clapping at lectures, won't take notes. Can't speak on what they know, they just quote. Civil rights lawyers won't tell blacks the truth or the difference between in for life or civil lit or mortus. Impropria persona, it's 2014. Blacks act like their brains on morphine. Think less, do little law studies. My more buddies wanna write a book for law dummies, cause they don't get it like teaching caveman rocket science. Politicians rule minorities within your pocket science. Pulling out dollars to give to those in white collars. Salivating, waiting for your green up collards. Calling themselves poor, but they spending millions and billions on everything but their own children. He was a good boy to mom on the couch living, but a heartless criminal and known villain.
Now the real deal is, let me ask you a question. Are you aware of Horace Greeley?
No.
Most people that come with this stuff usually express a lot of their emotions, their opinions, but upon examination, they have limited scholarship.
Okay.
A Letter to Horace Greeley by Abraham Lincoln. Dear Sir, I have just read yours of the 19th, addressed to myself through the New York Tribune. If there be in it any statements or assumptions of fact which I may know to be erroneous, I do not now and here controvert them. If there be in it any inferences which I may believe to be falsely drawn, I do not now and here argue against them. If there be perceptible in it an impatient and dictatorial tone, I waive it in deference to an old friend, whose heart I have always supposed to be right. As to the policy I seem to be pursuing, as you say, I have not meant to leave anyone in doubt. I would save the Union. I would save it the shortest way under the Constitution. The sooner the national authority can be restored, the nearer the Union will be, the Union as it was. If there be those who would not save the Union unless they could at the same time save slavery, I do not agree with them. If there be those who would not save the Union unless they could, at the same time, destroy slavery, I do not agree with them. My paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, and is not either to save or destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. And if I could do it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that. What I do about slavery and the colored race, I do because I believe it helps to save this Union. And what I forbear because I do not believe it would help to save the Union. I shall do less whenever I shall believe what I am doing hurts the cause, and I shall do more whenever I shall believe doing more will help the cause. I shall try to correct errors when shown to be errors, and I shall adopt new views so fast as they shall appear to be true views. I have here stated my purpose according to my view of official duty, and I intend no modification of my oft-expressed personal wish that all men everywhere could be free. Yours, Abraham Lincoln.
Visions, arguments, no unity. They claim unity and do everything to the contrary without scholarship. If you ask them anything about unum sanctum, dum diversus, Romanus Pontifex, the doctrine of discovery, the policies that are actually operating in every institution here that function against our people, they have no knowledge, but they're going to tell you about Africa.
Exactly, but I'm
Visions, arguments, no unity. They claim unity and do everything to the contrary without scholarship. if you ask them anything about unum sanctum, dum diversus, Romanus Pontifex, the doctrine of discovery, the policies that are actually operating in every institution here that function against our people, they have no knowledge, but they're going to tell you about Africa.
Exactly, but I mean,
That keep on playing Afrocentricity that really aren't scholars at all, that are really more or less full of crap. And we need to look at that.
So which scholars are you saying, like Dr. John Henry Clark, right? Are you saying he's a pseudo scholar and a phony scholar?
This is what I'll say to you.
See, no, because wait, you have to be
one of the things. When I talked to Dr. Ben, you know what Dr. Ben said?
He studied the Moorish schools.
Dr. Ben, when he talked about, you know, his travels that he had, the difficulties he had growing up, getting his education, he said, with all the struggles he'd been through, he never really got his solid and grounded education until he went to the Moorish universities in Spain.
And he was Ethiopian. Okay.
Now, hold on. Not what I said.
There came a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain. The Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors, M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S. From 711 until 1485, 774 years, when we built and brought into Europe the university system, building the University of Salamanca, S-A-L-A-M-A-N-C-A in Spain, a copy of the University of Genève from ancient Ghana, which was equally a copy of the University of Sankore in Tombouctou, which the French later called Timbuktu. Now, look, if you want to read it, read Stanley Lane Poole's The Moors in Spain, written in 1887, or Alejandro Macaziza. Read his book in Spanish, The Moors in Spain.
Take the wax out your ears. Take the wax out your ears.
I'm gonna be respectful because it's an elder.
No, don't be respectful. We're dealing with scholarship. Not what I said. Take the wax out your ears. Take the wax out your ears.
I'm gonna be respectful because it's an elder.
Don't be respectful. We're dealing with scholarship. What you find is that these people, this is what happens because so many of our people have been compromised, and they get their their stipend from publishers for promoting the black thing that makes our people non-descendable. We're not talking about colors. We're not talking about the word itself. We're talking about the issue of descendability. What you find is that these people, this is what happens because so many of our people have been compromised, and they get their their stipend from publishers for promoting the black thing that makes our people non-descendable. We're not talking about colors. We're not talking about the word itself. We're talking about the issue of descendability. This whole issue about knowing even these dynamics that you're dealing with right here. Now we have the president, foreign diplomat, representing the United States Corporation Company. His name is Barack H. Obama. Barack H. Obama, knowing the problems that we have here at Morocco and knowing that our people's heads are messed up, and also knowing that the world is turning around, and knowing that for these generations to come, that some truths have to come out. So he went to Hikupta, which is the proper name of Egypt. All scholars know that. Right now,
give me a reference.
Let me finish.
Give me a reference.
Let me finish. So he went to Hikupta and exposed that the American Constitution is derived from Muslim law.
I also know civilization's debt to Islam. It was Islam at places like Uluzada that carried the light of learning through so many centuries, paving the way for Europe's Renaissance and Enlightenment. It was innovation in Muslim communities. It was innovation in Muslim communities that developed the order of algebra, our magnetic compass and tools of navigation, our mastery of pens and printing, our understanding of how disease spreads and how it can be healed. Islamic culture has given us majestic arches and soaring spires, timeless poetry and cherished music, endless poetry and places of peaceful contemplation. And throughout history, Islam has demonstrated through words and deeds the possibilities of religious tolerance and racial equality. I also know that Islam has always been a part of America's story. The first nation to recognize my country was Morocco. In signing the Treaty of Tripoli in 1796, our second president, John Adams, wrote, "The United States has in itself no character of enmity against the laws, religion, or tranquility of Muslims." And since our founding, American Muslims have enriched the United States. They have fought in our wars, they have served in our government, they have stood for civil rights, they have started businesses, they have taught at our universities, they've excelled in our sports arenas, they've won Nobel Prizes, built our tallest building, and lit the Olympic torch. And when the first Muslim American was recently elected to Congress, he took the oath to defend our Constitution using the same Holy Quran that one of our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, kept in his personal library. So I have known Islam on 3 continents before coming to the region where it was first revealed. That experience guides my conviction that partnership between America and Islam must be based on what Islam is, not what it isn't. And I consider it part of my responsibility as President of the United States to fight against negative stereotypes of Islam wherever they appear. But that same principle must apply to Muslim perceptions of America. Just as Muslims do not fit a crude stereotype, America is not the crude stereotype of a self-interested empire. The United States has been one of the greatest sources of progress that the world has ever known.
Which all scholars always knew, right? Now, Michelle triangulates go to the Alhambra, the last stronghold of the Moors. They have pictures taken of them by the international community coming through double doors, dealing with the Kabbalistic principles, ancient African culture, higher self, lower self. Guards standing right next to them with the Moorish flag big as day. Then they come back here and sign the rights of indigenous people for these people to declare their nationality, because the international community has been addressing this since 1948. Problem that you have is that you have fake scholars who keep getting paid off, that keep promoting these people as crayons, knowing that that makes them non-descendable. Whether it was black, green, purple.
Fake scholars? Give me a fake scholar.
Anybody that continues to call these people of Moorish Asiatic descent black, knowing it makes them non-descendable. We're talking about a political issue of estate and birthright.
Dr. John Henry.
4. How the African continent gave its culture to the Western world. As mentioned elsewhere, the Egyptian mysteries and the philosophical schools of Greece were closed by the edicts of Theodosius in the 4th century AD and that of Justinian in the 6th century AD, i.e. 529. And as a consequence, intellectual darkness spread over Christian Europe and the Greco-Roman world for 10 centuries, during which time knowledge had disappeared. As stated elsewhere, the Greeks showed no creative powers and were unable to improve upon the knowledge which they had received from the Egyptians. During the Persian, Greek, and Roman invasions, large numbers of Egyptians fled not only to the desert and mountain regions, but also to adjacent lands in Africa, Arabia, and Asia Minor, where they lived and secretly deployed the teachings which belonged to their mystery system. In the 8th century AD, the Moors, i.e. natives of Mauritania in North Africa, invaded Spain and took with them the Egyptian culture which they had preserved. Knowledge in the ancient days was centralized, i.e. it belonged to a common parent and system, i.e. the wisdom teachings or mysteries of Egypt, which the Greeks used to call Sophia. As such, the people of North Africa were the neighbors of the Egyptians and became the custodians of Egyptian culture, which they spread through considerable portions of Africa, Asia Minor, and Europe. During their occupation of Spain, the Moors displayed with considerable credit the grandeur of African culture and civilization. The schools and libraries which they established became famous throughout the medieval world. Science and learning were cultivated and taught. The schools of Cordova, Toledo, Seville, and Saragossa attained such celebrity that they, like their parent Egypt, attracted students from all parts of the Western world, and from them arose the most famous African professors that the world has ever known in medicine, surgery, astronomy, and mathematics. But these people from North Africa did more than merely distinguish themselves in Spain. They were really the recognized custodians of African culture, to whom the world looked for enlightenment. Consequently, through the medium of the ancient Arabic language, philosophy, and the various branches of science were disseminated. All the so-called works of Aristotle in metaphysics, moral philosophy, and natural science, translations by Leonardo Pisano in Arabic mathematical science, translation by Gedeo, a monk of Arezzo, in musical notation. In addition, the Moors kept up constant contact with Mother Egypt, for they had established caliphates not only at Baghdad and Cordova, but also at Cairo in Egypt. Just here it would be well to mention that all the great leaders of the great religions of antiquity were initiates of the Egyptian mystery system, from Moses, who was an Egyptian hieroglyphic, down to Christ. It should also be of interest to know that European scientists like Roger Bacon, Johannes Kepler, Copernicus, and others obtained their science through Arab or Berber sources. It is also noteworthy that through the Middle Ages, European knowledge of medicine came from these sources. End of chapter 3.
Clark, one of those? Who are you talking
He knows that these people are Moors.
Huh?
He knows that these people are Moors, so does everyone else.
Moors is just descriptive. You're not.
Well,
You're
no, that's your opinion. That's your opinion.
Because I don't see.
Give me the fact. Give me the facts. Give me the facts.
Where does the word derive from?
There came a time in 1506, after we lost power in Spain. The Africans ruled Spain from 711. We were calling ourselves Moors. M-A-U-E-R-S, then M-O-O-R-S.
And it was black, green,
What's
purple.
Fake scholars? Give me a fake scholar.
Anybody that continues to call these people of Moorish Asiatic descent black, knowing it makes them non-descendable. We're talking about a political issue of estate and birthright.
Dr. John Henry? Okay, I got you.
Yes.
All right. So in England, right? When Al-Misor began to have conversations at the embassy in England, right?
Yes.
That is when
was he sitting around talking about black people, or was he talking about Moors?
He was talking about his.
Was he talking about black people, or was he talking about Moors?
He was talking about
question again. Was he talking about black people, or was he talking about Moors?
He wasn't talking about black people. He was
of
talking
course
about.
He was.
Okay, I got you.
Yes.
All right. So in England, right? when
Yeah.
Al-Mansur began to have conversations at the embassy in England, right?
Yes.
That is when
Was he sitting around talking about black people, or was he talking about Moors?
He was talking about his.
Was he talking about black people, or was he talking about Moors?
He was talking about
question again. Was he talking about black people, or was he talking about Moors?
He wasn't talking about black people. He was
Of
talking
course he
about.
We are a nation within a nation in this country searching for a nationality. And once we find our nationality and serve that nationality, we'll do for ourselves what needs to be done. All ethnic groups in this country understand they got a nationality. Because you answer to such stupid words like Negro and color and black. You have no nationality. Negro is not a nationality. Some lazy Portuguese or Spaniard took an adjective and made a noun out of it. Colored is not a nationality. Black tells you how you look, but it don't tell you who you are. Right. The name of a people must relate them instantaneously to land, history, and culture. And anytime you call a people by their right name, anytime you call a people and name a people and fail to relate them back to land, history, and culture, you have called them out of their name. There's no black land or black hole. There's nothing wrong with the word black. Nothing wrong with it at all. Only it doesn't relate to a country. The name of every people in the world relate to country. And once you think instantaneously of land, you think of nationality. You belong to something big in the world.
Hold up. He wants to know. He said he's learning. He said he wanted to know what his nationality was because it didn't get answered. So these are the people that wants to
Your
know.
nationality is Moor. Now, just cut through the
second. Let me go get it.
Anyway, they will tell you about Columbus, Isabella, Ferdinand, and they will tell you before they came to the Western Hemisphere for conquest that they defeated the Moors. Then soon as you get past the 1700s and soon as you get into the 1800s, all of a sudden, the Moorish history so-called disappear, and now these people are called coons, blacks, and niggers.
You see him? You see who this is?
Yes.
Look, back up for a minute and look at him.
Hello.
Now, do you see him as a nigger? Is he a nigger?
What do you mean?
You said that we are niggers. Now, is he a nigger too?
Why not?
Then soon as you get past the 1700s and soon as you get into the 1800s, all of a sudden, the Moorish history so-called disappear, and now these people are called coons, blacks, and niggers, and they think that that's a nationality, which it is not. The bloodline is Moor, which is short for Morocco. Every secret society, when you travel,
Masons,
little baby, when you travel and you start seeing the different people that govern here, I don't care whether they're Europeans or Asiatics, they will go to secret societies, lodges, whether Knights of Columbus Shriners, Masons, Eastern Star, and one of the first lessons they're going to get is of Ruth the Moabitess. Moor is short for Moabite. That's the people on this planet called Earth with hair like lamb's wool, skin like burnished brass as if burnt in an oven, who now think that human beings are crayons. And it's interesting that we have scholars, this time, 2015, that still think people are crayons. Let me tell you, baby, human beings are not crayons. They honor their mothers and fathers, and they have a nationality. The reason why, one of the major political reasons why our people are so mistreated is because they're the only people on the planet that become adults that still think human beings are crayons. Talking about green people and purple people and pinstripe people, and don't matter what color you are. Go to a law book and look at color, and you know what it means? A semblance, a simulacrum, as distinguished from that which is real. Persons who claim these brand systems that were set up by Dutch masters at North America in law are called wards of the state. They are non-descendable. Any wealth that's passed down from their foreparents will be taken by the states because they are held as being in dishonor. And I suggest to you, even though you have young eyes and you're a little girl, pay attention to what's around you. When you see other Asiatics and Africans come here to North America, they'll deal with us and they'll do business with us. But you will not see them integrate into communities where we are. We are outcasts because we're the only people that continue to put this crazy, ignorant, foul crap on our offspring, calling them colors.
And then all other legislation they wanted to bring up, they brought it up and gotten it out of the way, and now they bring up you. And now they bring up you. You put them first and they put you last. Because you're a chum. A political chum.
Political chumps. Yo, Khalid. Political chumps always clapping at lectures, won't take notes. Can't speak on what they know, they just quote. Civil rights lawyers won't tell blacks the truth or the difference between it for life or civil lit or mortus. Impropria persona, it's 2014. Blacks act like their brains on morphine. Think less, do little law studies. My more buddies wanna write a book for law dummies. Cause they don't get it like teaching caveman rocket science. Politicians rule minorities within your pocket science. Pulling out dollars to give to those in white collars. Salivating, waiting for your green up collards. Calling themselves poor, but they spending millions and billions on everything but their own children. He was a good boy to mom on the couch living, but a heartless criminal and known villain. Political trump, treated like a political skunk, marching and picketing for civil-political junk. Wars of the crown, states they break, but won't respect nationality or their prophet's face. Not talking Muhammad, Yahshua or Buddha, but the Sharif they call Sheriff the Law Tutor. Founded a civic organization to build a nation, eradicating what the blacks were facing. Segregation, Jim Crow laws, enter through back doors and led on. They using rope as weapons, cause I slipped and touched a cave bitch wrist. They bomb my town and label me a rapist. I wasn't a secret, everybody saw. But to my people, they never kill crackers but fighting their wars. To kill innocent people that did nothing to them, and only cuss out the ones that did something to them. Distract you from your nation with false fear. Some black leaders are paid sellouts and some face crosshairs for speaking of things when they took an oath not to speak, giving you clues like promised lands and mountain peaks. Political champions proud of championship belts. Political abuse against druids and celts, thinking that state ID makes you a citizen. Conscious Moors talk, unconscious Moors aren't listening. Thinking they can have rights or get rights or earn rights when rights are exercised by those that live on earth, right? And rights come from human rights and human rights from birthrights. Have none and end up facing US Third Reich.
These principles are universal, and this is the interesting thing. What you see, all this also, Sinetta, if you will start. Matter of fact, when we come to the house for the babies and everything, right? We'll have the babies take. I'm going to give them some stuff for themselves and little notebooks for them to take notes and give reference points. Now you got Black's Law, Joust, right?
Yeah.
4th edition, right? 4th edition, and you already know you got the English Heritage Dictionary.
Yes.
All right, and you've got etymology dictionary in the English language.
Yeah.
All right, make sure your babies have that. It's so easy to take children and give them a fundamental education. And as a matter of fact, a lot of times when different brothers are debating, you know, you take a neutral position because you're an editor.
Right.
You're a journalist. But for the sake of our people, it would help to school them and wake them up.